we can talk about Christmas in November.
All right, let's talk about it. Can't you
Oh,
wait to find out who won the election?
I can't wait.
It's like Christmas.
Oh, yes, here we go.
When these dads meet world, watching Boy Meets World. We grew up on the show, now we have kids and host a podcast. We watch each episode and then share our thoughts and grades. When these dads meet world.
They want you to take the roles.
Welcome back to Dad's Meet World, your classic 90s deep dive weekly podcast into that 90s show known as Boy Meets World. I am one of your two dads, Tyler.
And I'm your other of two dads, Brett. How you doing?
Yes, welcome. And hopefully, dear Lord, I hope that you listening to this already know who has won the presidential election. Because if
I hope we've got it
get another
settled by the
text
time
message
this episode
before this
drops.
recording is over, I am going to lose it. Brett, I told you, my phone got messed up. I had to buy a new phone. I didn't want to. I didn't have a choice. Since getting that phone, I have had 49 different numbers text me, and multiples have been multiple time.
Oh, wow. That's ridiculous.
It is. The amount of mailers we have received, and every single time we watch any streaming platform, nothing but commercials. There are some that my son will run out of the room because he doesn't want to see them, and I don't blame him.
And it might not be so bad if they were at least honest and creative.
Yes.
Like,
I don't
I've
know about
seen
you,
some
Brett.
creative ones that weren't honest. And I've seen some that were honest but weren't all that creative. I mean, kudos. There's one in Ohio that actually went through some of the false claims their opponent made and said, here's what really happened in this claim. Here's what really happens. That's been played like 2 times here in Ohio on some streaming platforms. I haven't seen it
Nice.
yet. Yeah, so I'm ready.
Well-
I hope by the time this drops, we're done and we actually know.
That'd be lovely.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I think I might have lost it. Did I lose it? Is it coming back? I don't know. I'm losing it. I'm going a little crazy, a little stir crazy. I'm over it officially. Yeah. I was gonna make a joke. Can't think of it. I will say, I did see a skit that SNL did that compared, that did the what's that name skit, and they showed the running mate of Hillary Clinton, and it's like, what's his name? And they had them do it twice in the same skit. And he's like, I was just here. I just told you. And I accidentally watched it twice, and I went, oh gosh, what was his name both times? So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know I was going to mention to you. I know the best argument for me, Brett, is does a candidate say whether they're strong or weak? That is something that I am all about, because I'm all about strength and
Yes.
not being weak.
I'm all about hearing empty promises for what you're going to do that's beyond the office of president.
That too, Brett.
Yes.
That too.
And all about how you're going to change everything that either you had a hand in doing for the last 4 years, or you had a hand in doing the 4 years before that you could have done a better job of, either in the 4 years before now or the 4 years before that. That's what I love hearing at the national level.
Yeah.
Well,
Brett,
let's talk about something else.
Hopefully, our good-looking people have a much brighter day than what we're having, and they're out of the fog of pre-election, and everything is wonderful.
Yes.
And if not, I hope we can provide some laughs and giggles, and hopefully soon you'll know what's going on in the world.
Yes, I think we can. I really think we can.
Yes. But Brett, I think we need to get back into tradition, and we really need to focus on what is tradition.
We do.
And making sure you're doing the right tradition.
That's right. You always have to do the right tradition.
Always. Every single year, you have to do the same thing, even though in the 2 Christmas specials we've seen so far from the show, they have not done any of those
Any
things.
of them. We've actually seen let me bring this up here because I was looking at this the other day. I have stuff. I was plotting out kind of reposting stuff uh for when we share, hey, check out this older episode. Boy Meets World has done Easy Street, which is a Christmas episode. The
Mhm.
Turnaround, which is marginally a Christmas episode. It
Nearish.
takes place at Christmas time. Santa's Little Helper, which is a Christmas
Mhm.
episode. And now we're going to look at A Very Topanga Christmas. So in 5
Well
seasons, we've done 4. This will be our 4th Christmas episode.
well, technically, when they did the New Year's Eve special or
Mm-hmm.
special episode, they still had their Christmas tree up.
Yes, because I mean, that's between Christmas and New Year's, really. So I mean,
Yep.
it's still in the Christmas season.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I want you to stay in school.
I feel like I'm being watched. Yes. But so yes, traditions that we've never seen before. But shall we get into a little bit about this episode, Tyler?
Yes.
Because
Fight!
yes, we've got.
Oh, very nice.
I got to get into the Christmas mood because who knows, someone might be listening to this at Christmas time.
That's true.
And
I wish I had my little sign behind me. I didn't think about it.
good-looking people, Merry Christmas on Boy Meets World.
Yes. Merry Christmas indeed. I mean, we're getting close to that season.
It is. We are officially recording this at the beginning of November, so
Yeah. Some would say we are officially in Christmas season.
some would say. I'm not one of those people, but some would say.
I am not either.
Topanga spends her first Christmas at the Matthews home. Cory is happy at first, but when traditions clash, he starts to have misgivings about their future together. This episode was written by Andy, I think he pronounces his name Geardat. It's Guerdat. He also wrote Fraternity Row. That's the only other episode he wrote for the show. It was directed by David Kendall. Originally aired December 19th, 1997. This is 2 weeks after our last episode we talked about. And currently has an IMDb rating of 7.7, which is identical to the last episode. Now, I was curious. This episode is tied for 17th place out of 24 in this season, according to IMDb ratings. So, Nielsen-wise, Tyler, our last episode had 12.16 in the Nielsen numbers. What do you think A Very Topanga Christmas, which, by the way, good-looking people, in the days of yore, not mine, yore, when TV was built around not just first run, but syndication, the big number to hit was 100. This is Boy Meets World's 100th episode.
Ooh.
Tyler, what do you think the 100th episode hit in the Nielsen numbers that night?
Oh, let's go with 12 for 12 Days of Christmas.
You would have lost the showcase. We only reached 11.2.
Well, not that far off.
No, but you're still too high for the showcase. It's not bad numbers, especially compared to today. But middle of December for 11.2, good numbers, but yeah. And the only other thing of note, there will be no guest stars information shared tonight because there are no guest stars in this episode.
This is essentially a bottle episode.
Pretty much, we're only using standing sets. We have no redress of chubbies that I can think of, and
Yeah, I mean, we have 2 sets that weren't there before, but it's really just a living room set and then it's a hallway set, so not too complicated
yeah,
design-wise.
we
So
actually get the Matthews living room for I think the 3rd
they don't
time this
yeah,
season.
actually get the Matthews living room. There's no Chubby's redress and there's no John Adams High, so
Yes, we don't get the or the side yard.
And we don't get the side yard. Although I think they're trying to make you think that it's snowing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Snow costs money.
It does. But that's all I've got to set us up, Tyler. Take us away.
All right. Well, we start this episode off, Brett, with Alan Matthews declaring 12 years in our aluminum tree looks as good as new. I love this tree. I like you.
Oh, yes. I don't remember seeing this any time before, but okay, you do you,
No,
Alan.
yeah,
Alan doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who would like an aluminum tree, though, does he?
no, but I mean, the only thing I can think of is that he got the tree 12 years ago, and he got it back out, convinced the family this is the year I'm putting this tree up, and he's so excited because the tree is back up. I don't know. They've always had a green tree. They've never had a
Yeah.
aluminum silver tree, and he does not seem like the type of guy who goes for that.
Yeah, maybe we can chalk this up to Cory's unreliable narrator days.
Mhm. Well, I mean, the other problem is that like most fake trees still look green. So maybe they've always had a tree. It's just for whatever reason this season they really wanted to make it clear that it is fake, and the only way to do that is to do silver. So that's the only thing I can think
I mean,
of.
there was a stretch that fake aluminum trees were a thing, but yeah.
Mhm.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I think we're spending
Anyways,
too much time focusing on this garish eyesore.
I think we need to focus more time on it, Brett. So we discover that Topanga is going to be staying with them, and Cory is starting to talk over with his father and his brother about not embarrassing Cory.
Yes.
You know, I will say that like when my wife was first meeting my family, there were a smidgen things that I would say like, "Hey, let's maybe be careful how we say this or that," but nothing as large as don't run through the house naked singing Christmas carols. So, Brett, do you have a specific song you like to run around the house naked singing?
Feliz Navidad in its original Latin.
Fair.
Sometimes the German. But I only do it because people expect it.
Yes, we wish you a Merry Christmas. Running around naked. Hey, I only do it.
No naked running.
That's gonna come up more than twice, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. But Cory also decides to take a moment to show his brother, and I think more or less to show the audience that he is giving Topanga a promise ring. Oh, I did deep dive promise rings. I should have done that.
What the heck is that?
Yes, so a promise ring, good looking people, is apparently a ring. It's probably more popular in the 90s time period of you get a ring, and that's the ring is to indicate that someday I'll replace that ring with an engagement ring. My wife and I, we talked about promise rings. We're like, why would we get each other a promise ring when we're going to get engaged within like 2 years of us dating, which is exactly what happened. So we never did that ourselves.
That's really precious.
I'm
You
assuming
guys must
and
be the most
Kelly-
precious couple in the universe. You're freaks.
I'm assuming you and Kelly didn't do promise rings, Brett.
No, and to be blunt, if I offend any of you good looking people in the 90s who liked promise rings, I hated the idea. I have never thought it was a good idea. I always thought it cheapened the entire concept of engagement. Because
Yeah.
I always saw it as undercutting the idea of an engagement ring. Here's a ring where I promise we're going to be together forever. Well, what's the point of an engagement ring then? That is a promise to be together forever. A wedding ring is a promise to be together forever. Let's add a third ring for teenagers who have not reached the age where they actually can enter into a binding marriage covenant to promise to be together forever. It is just marketing. I never.
Brett,
I have a very cynical view on that, and I always have.
they are anywhere between 16 to 18 years old. Get off their backs.
No naked running.
Yes. So, anywho, Topanga arrives and is so excited to be there, but is quite floored when she sees the Matthews Christmas tree.
Oh, look, Miss Topanga.
What the heck is that?
And to quote my wife, hasn't she been around enough around this time to know what type of tree they put up?
Yeah, I mean, they make a big deal about it's her first time staying with them for the holidays, but she and Cory have been together since they're like, what, in the sandbox together? And
Yeah.
I've got it in my notes here somewhere. We're going to get into the weeds with this, but all of these are traditions or happenings of the holidays that she would have had some clue about, especially the tree. She would have been in the house.
Right. Well, and that gets to the slight frustration about this episode is that, excuse me. Wow. Slight frustration about this episode, Brad. Topanga, even if you discount the 6th grade year where they weren't really friends, from
The lost
7th
years.
grade until now as seniors, they have been in each other's lives in a very intense way because they've
Mhm.
referred to themselves as best friends or boyfriend girlfriend. That's what their relationship has been even after they broke up.
Mhm.
So they would know each other's family's traditions. They would understand the type of household that they come from. And these are conversations you have with someone.
Mhm.
And also, Brett, can we just can we be honest for 2 seconds?
Of course.
Every family has traditions, but are we saying that the Matthewses and Lawrences have such opposite Christmas traditions that Christmas together is impossible? Because this show is making it sound like these two families have never spent a holiday together and now they're forced to do Christmas together, and there's no way they can work it out.
Now, if Jedediah and Chloe were still in the picture, and Jedediah and Chloe were still like season 1 Lawrence's, maybe.
Right.
But no, there's no real reason to think that their traditions are really this far apart that they couldn't make things work.
Right. Well, and also, like, I feel like Cory making sure that he neurotically prepares his girlfriend to stay there, he would have asked her things like, hey, what are things that are your traditions? What are ways I can make this more comfortable for you? What are you hoping for? What are you expecting? And they
Mhm.
could start compromising on things like, we will have both eggnog and cider.
Mhm.
And, I'll go get maple syrup for you. Like, just these little things that are issues that don't need to be issues. I guess we've skipped a little bit good looking people, but to recap, Lunar Tree versus Real Tree, eggnog versus apple cider, um, real pure maple syrup from Vermont. I'm trying to
Yeah,
think if
that
I'm
was just
missing
kind of a
anything.
while we're here, which, by the way,
Fair, true. Also, Topanga's family opens most of their gifts on Christmas Eve. Like,
that one I find odd. My family does
yeah,
like one, and we always did one with my grandparents at my
right,
grandparents' house after like a Christmas Eve service at church,
yeah,
but
yeah,
that one seemed odd to me.
yeah. It
But
is odd, and my family does Christmas. Like, my parents and my siblings, we do Christmas together on Christmas Eve. So we open gifts there, and so
mhm.
tell my kids, you can wait till the morning to open up
Exactly.
any other gifts.
Yes, look at that. Traditions morphing and adjusting to fit within
Yeah.
the new dynamic. But yeah.
Yeah,
But
and
hey, when it comes to eggnog and spice cider, I like both. I will take eggnog first, but I like both. And by the way, I say this every year. It always pops in my head every year when I watch this episode. And I brought it up to Kelly again this year. Put some liquid in those glasses when you hand them to someone. Make it look like they're drinking something. Every time that Danielle picks up that glass and mimics drinking eggnog, I just look at it and say, wow, there's nothing there.
I do have to say, Brett, one of my favorite things is when Feeney goes into the house and he's like, tradition. And now I will say, we have seen Feeney read A Christmas Carol before. So yes, there is
tradition there.
Yes, there is a little bit of canon.
Yes.
Go figure. For this tradition.
Continuity isn't dead.
Yes. Continuity, that's what I'm looking for. And I love that he's like, tradition. And she goes, ooh, you know, it'd be fun. He's like, tradition. What if we all play different parts?
Miss Lawrence.
Ooh, Morgan can play Tiny Tim. I'm Tiny Tim.
Mr. Matthews, if there were complaints about my performance last year.
Yes. I also just love that Cory's like, Mr. V comes over, he reads the Christmas Carol. We never ask him to, but he just does.
Yeah. And I wanted to put this out there too. Whether we comment on it or discuss it or just leave it there. I don't think the writers did Topanga any favor here. I know that David wrote the episode, or not David, that Andy wrote the episode, but it went through the whole room, and we know that Michael Jacobs always does his pass on it. Topanga is really overbearing to come in and start. I mean, she's been in the house for 90 seconds. She's already chastised the family for their tree. Stated that she prefers cider to the family's. By the way, it sounds like Alan makes the eggnog himself, his special eggnog, which is a Matthews tradition. And they're driving from Philadelphia to Vermont to get a tree, to cut a. Are there no tree farms or lots in Philadelphia? In 1997, they could go to. They have
tradition,
to go to
Brett.
Vermont.
The Lawrence's tradition is to go to Vermont.
Yeah, like I know the Matthews love Topanga, but if this were my child and his girlfriend, I'm not driving to the next state over to cut down a Christmas tree just to make her feel welcome.
And I will also say, Brett, the little bit of misogyny that's in this episode potentially is that Topanga can come in and just start dictating and the men just start doing whatever she wants to keep her happy. I gotta be honest. I've not been in a household where the mother / the wife is not the one who has done all the decorating, makes the house look the way she wants it, makes the tree the way she wants it, and she is the one that is in charge of most of these things. I watch my mother for years decorate the house and always makes it look wonderful. My father is in charge of putting out the lights and putting it out the way my mother wants it to be. And I try my best to do that here. We got a weird slope to our house, so Christmas lights tend to be kind of kooky here. But, yeah, I love decorating, but at the end of the day, I'll look at my wife and I'll go, do you want anything else? Is this the way you like it? How can I make you happy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm amazed that she did not offend Amy.
Yeah, Amy was very, I don't know if she was underwritten or just more of a background shade in a lot of this episode. I feel like there could have been more for her this episode, especially with the way she has been presented as seeing Topanga as a daughter in episodes past. But it was kind of a full episode, and it was very Cory centric in its story. So,
but I mean, I will say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to on the idea of Topanga. Just wanted to put that out there before I hop off the train. Something I didn't notice until this year. When it comes to Topanga being written this way, to come in and run the show with traditions, family traditions.
Traditions.
Yes. Do you notice the tree topper that she comes in with to put on the top of the Christmas tree in Act 1 instead of the macaroni Christmas star?
Angel.
The angel? Did you ever stop and think about where she gets that?
From her parents' Christmas tree?
Which she packed before she came over. She planned to bring her parents' Christmas tree topper to the Matthews to put on their Christmas tree instead of their own tree topper. So she had already planned to come over to the house and insert her own traditions into theirs while she's a guest for the holiday.
Yeah.
This is how they wrote her. And this show's been on the air. Well, this show was on the air 30 years ago, and I've been watching this episode most Christmas seasons, and this didn't click with me that this is exactly what was written in there until this year. I just always kind of glossed over. Oh yeah, she brought their own tree topper with her. It's like, oh wait, she brought her own tree topper with her to put on the Matthews Christmas tree.
I mean,
like, well, that's not good.
I will say that to cushion this blow a little bit, because I will admit, Topanga is a lot this episode. Potentially, her only thing that she was going to bring was the angel, and she was going to say, hey, would your family be willing to put the angel on top of the tree or near the tree? I just want the angel here because this was the angel my parents got when I was first born. This has always been on the tree. I see this angel every, year for Christmas, and this will help make me feel like I'm at home, blah 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 blah. Could have been something like that. But when she got there, her, like Cory, her neuroses kind of got in the way, and her type A personality decided, I must fix this.
Topanga's very Cory like this episode.
Yes, I will agree with that.
She gets in touch with her inner Cory in some ways.
Well, and
there's a little Cory inside of all of us.
It is episodes like this where she is kind of the backcrap crazy one that I'm like, they are meant to be together.
They're crazy matches.
Yeah, it really does.
No naked running.
I just love how Eric keeps calling for conferences.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I did clip one of them. Let's see, which one did I clip?
Welcome to the rest of your life.
Eric, so she opens her presents on Christmas Eve.
This isn't about the present.
So she wanted a real tree.
This isn't about the 600-mile drive to Vermont.
Okay, so she makes purring noises when we make out. But perhaps I've said too much.
Listen, what this is about is today she takes over Christmas. Tomorrow it's the rest of your life. Goodbye, Cory Matthews. Hello, whatever your Topanga name is.
You know, what's the big deal about when we open presents? And my Topanga name is Captain Take Me Shopping.
Yeah, well, Captain, this isn't about the presents, okay? This is about the power struggle between men and women since the creation of man over 300 years ago.
Captain, take me shopping. Perhaps I've said too much.
Perhaps I've said too much. I will say the look that Eric gives him is priceless.
That is classic.
Oh,
yeah.
Too good.
Yeah.
Ooh. Crap, I'm sorry. So yeah, I will say for Eric, this is his first year where he's not, I guess, technically staying at the Matthews household. Although I think for Christmas Eve night he probably would, but like
He's probably
he's still helping to decorate, still doing stuff, and I think for him, like, he's holding on to the traditions because he knows he's not going to have too many more left of being there.
Yeah, we're an Og family. How can they be together? They're not in the same space. They're not in the same place.
Too good. Yeah, we need to move forward. We can't keep getting stuck on this.
Yeah,
Brett.
well, let's
We
talk
just
about
can't.
Jack and Shawn then.
Yeah, let's get the Jack and Shawn. Um, Apparently they're going to spend Christmas together.
I
They
really like the honesty of this subplot.
yeah,
They
they're
they
trying
really
to figure
find
out
something here.
what they could bond over, what they can do together. I like how they decorate the apartment, making
Yeah.
it look very festive.
Hmm.
And I like how they're trying to find common ground, and
Hmm.
unfortunately we're realizing that Jack has a little more money than what he is led on to, and maybe Shawn has been a little more poorer than he is led on to as well.
Hmm. Yeah.
Although he
But
still keeps going to Chubby's and buying burgers and fries.
he's an eater.
Yes.
But they're still willing to, they're unfortunately reminding each other of just how different their paths are, but they still want they want to build something new. And I
They do.
really love that's their story for this episode, is to build something new, while we're looking at Cory and Topanga trying to find some way to merge something new out of these two different collections of things.
Yeah. Brett, we get to a really interesting scene, though.
Yes.
Because Topanga quietly somehow wakes Cory.
Yes.
And without opening the door, she's able to wake him up.
He's a light sleeper.
So Cory comes out, they talk. And this is kind of a moment where I think they are trying to show that Topanga feels bad for kind of her putting her traditions onto the Matthewses. And Cory's really just trying to get not full-blown nickname cut out of this situation, but
Come in.
definitely trying to get some snuggles and maybe some kisses out of the situation.
I said, come in.
Yes, I was dreaming and I said, come in, and you did.
Yeah, because she definitely wants to talk.
Yeah. Now, Brett, I don't want to pry much into your personal life, and if you don't feel like answering, don't feel to, but has your wife ever just in the middle of the night woken you up and say, I have to talk about this thing?
There have been a few times in 19 years, so
Like 3 o'clock in the morning, wake up?
it was probably something like that. I mean, it's the middle of the night, so you don't always know when it is, but yeah, there
Fair.
probably have been. Yeah, but you do. You wake up, you talk, you go back to sleep.
Fair.
Sometimes you wake up. I don't do models, but but it's not an every night occurrence like it's made out to be for these characters.
The way they make it sound is if Alan does not sleep, he gets a few hours, Amy talks to him, his mind starts going, and then he goes and works on his models.
I will say one thing about Topanga and Cory's conversation here that kind of jumped out to me. They're talking about how do they merge the traditions, but it's interesting that she assumes that Cory is always going to get up at 3 a.m. to talk with her about things. That she always assumes that. I mean, I could be reading into it, but it's almost I'm assuming that you're going to subsume yourself to be there for 3 o'clock in the morning for me every night. It's like, well, maybe
it's a lot.
That's a lot to ask of someone, especially if they have, they have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning the next day every day. But they are teenagers. They're 17, 18 years old. But it's just something that stuck out to me. Yeah. Don't good looking people don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not bashing Topanga for it. It's in the middle of a conversation about merging their traditions. Just
yeah, well,
it freaks Cory out.
There's a lot of reading into everything in this episode for sure.
Yes, there is. It freaks Cory out.
Yes. I do like how after this conversation, Cory's like, now I'm up.
Yep. And like, I really...
How light were you sleeping before this?
If you were woken up by just that little tap, tap, tapping on the door, you're not a very deep sleeper.
No.
Well, he is celery, so
Brett, my wife has to legit like almost stop my breathing to wake me up in the middle of the night.
I could sleep
Like
through almost
someone needs to
anything.
be screaming like in pain and in danger for me to pop out of bed and start moving and
Yeah.
deal with whatever we have to deal with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I will not my wife has woken me up to have conversation, but there have been times when something will occur in the middle of the night and I'll hear something and immediately pop up and go deal with the thing and then go crash, go back to bed. There's also been times where nothing has happened, but it's like my brain finally registers that there was a noise and I'll pop up and I'll go deal with the thing and my wife will look at me like, "What are you doing, crazy man?" I'm like, I heard a cry, so I was gonna go
Yeah.
deal with it. She
That
goes,
was like an
"Yeah,
hour ago.
an hour ago." I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna go back to bed."
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
really
yeah,
did appreciate the conversation that Alan and Cory had, and so I was able
yeah.
to click most of it so that we could
Oh, good.
Oh, every night I just wish that I can make it to the morning without that tap, tap, tap. Alan, are you up? Yes, Pumpkin. Then those words, let's talk. She talks until she falls asleep, and then I make models. Zoom! Why are you up?
Topanga, she also likes to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, Dad, she's been here for less than 8 hours, and I'm just now finding out all these new things about her.
And that's bad?
Yeah, I mean, I always thought we were so much alike, and I thought that's why we get along so well.
Oh, so just when you get to the point where you think that she's you, you find out that she's her.
So what do I do?
I love that so
Mhm.
much because that is part of a mark of a real relationship is
Yeah.
not what are the ways you're alike, it's how are you different and how do you work through those differences? Can
Mhm.
you accept those differences in the other person? I love that so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. It's never how you fare during the easy times, it's how do you get through the rough times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I love the wisdom Alan brings to the situation just in those couple of sentences. You know, you thought she was just like you, and you realize she's just like her. So
Mm-hmm.
what do I do about it? I've had one of these for all of my sons. Merry Christmas.
I do love, well, like, I think Alan is trying to communicate to Cory in this moment of like, your mom needs most nights to share some things and get things off her chest she didn't get to vent and deal with during the day. So when she
Mhm.
wakes up, she can't sleep. She needs me to be there for her. And after that, I am wide awake. And so to be kind to her, I come down here, I deal with what I need to do, maybe fall asleep. But regardless, I love her, so I will deal with this.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
what crazy are you willing to deal with for your significant other?
Yep. Are you willing to sniff model glue? But this
Oh.
whole scene reminded me of season 1, Cory and Alan on the couch. I get those nice
yeah.
little warm fuzzies from season 1 all over again.
Mhm. Well, I like how Alan has really shifted in this season to being more of a relationship guru for him as Cory's trying to figure out
Mhm.
being in more of a serious relationship.
Yep.
So the amount of life advice he has been giving him more this season, I really enjoy.
Indeed.
Mhm. So we get to the next episode because I think Cory, after that talk from his dad, is like, okay, I'm going to give this next day the best effort I can. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to be open. and Topanga sucks the joy out of Christmas Eve from him.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But she
'Cause she
makes
has
Christmas tree shaped pancakes.
yes, Christmas tree shaped pancakes, and Cory is not allowed to use maple syrup. He has to use powdered sugar.
But they went to Vermont for the syrup.
Yeah.
I'm with Cory. You went to Vermont for the syrup. Use the syrup.
Yeah. Well, and she also freshly squeezed some orange juice, but threw a little grape juice in there.
Which I think sounds like it could be quite tasty, but I
It could
understand
be,
Cory's
but
perspective. It's
you
different.
yeah, you have to communicate that. Hey, I got some orange juice. Just so you know, there is a little squish. There's something different about it. Taste it and then tell me what you think.
This is a lot of different to throw at someone in the span of about 12 hours.
Yes, that is the problem with this episode. So much different is being thrown at Cory, and he is expected to just take it.
And he finally breaks down and tells Topanga he doesn't want all of this stuff to change.
Yeah.
So,
Well, she says, we're going to go Christmas caroling. He's like, I don't want to go Christmas caroling. It's just caroling. Yeah, and I don't like to sing.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this fight for the two of them because she's coming from, well, don't you want to do my traditions? And he's coming from, this makes me uncomfortable and I don't know how to fully communicate that to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm already dealing with all this, so now I'm frustrated and angry.
Yes, I've already been doing all of these other traditions for you, and this one really pushes me over the edge where I'm really not comfortable. It's something that I am uncomfortable doing any day of the year anyway.
Yep. So Cory walks away and he makes his way to the apartment, Brett, and he's almost trying to have the same conversation with Shawn because his dad didn't give him the best information, apparently. And so now he's hoping Shawn will help him out because he's basically going through, I thought we were so much alike, and apparently we're nothing alike about each other and traditions.
Yeah. And
I like how Shawn's trying to make it clear. You two have commonality.
Mm-hmm.
Jack and I have nothing.
Cory,
but we're
I
still
am but
trying.
a simple idiot.
Yeah. And he's trying to explain to Jack, you could do no better than Topanga. And they have so much together that's good. And we get this little runner of Jack saying, I really don't know her. I don't know who she is. Like, Jack, just two episodes ago, just a month ago, she was in your apartment for the entire evening for Thanksgiving. You know who she is. You might not know her in detail, but you know who she is.
But I love this little runner, Brett. I really do. And also,
it does make for some good humor.
Well, there's also, okay, let's be honest for a moment, okay? When you're a young guy in your late teens, 20s-ish, unless you have an interest in a female to date her and you know she's already taken, you don't pay that much attention to who
Very
they are.
true. And let's be honest, even when you are interested like Jack is, he couldn't pick up on the signal of chicken soup would make me feel better.
I do. Yes. Jack is a little clueless.
Jack's a pretty
naive.
boy. He's not a smart boy.
Yes, I agree with that completely. So yeah, I do love how he's like, if Topanga won't tell me to fall asleep listening to Feeny read a Christmas Carol, fall asleep watching on TV.
I love that line. Yeah.
Yes, but Shawn says he's gonna go ice skating, and Jack's like, "Oh, you like ice skating? I love ice skating. I love ice skating too."
Yeah, they found something to do together. It's just it's a little thing, but it's something they can do together no matter where they are. Fun little tradition they can build.
I love like a fan art picture of Jack and Shawn ice skating together. I think that'd be adorable.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they're both really good, or they're both kind of they both overestimate their abilities?
I think it's like most adults when they go skating or rollerblading, where they stumble a little bit, but for the most part, they stay up. Now, I will say the last time I went rollerblading, which is now over, not over, we're still under 10 years, but getting close to the 10-year mark. I did beef it and really jacked my knee up for a year. Like I was still feeling it for a while. So yeah, I went. It was roller skating. I went, not ice skating. I have never actually ice skated, Brett.
I've been ice skating a few times. I've done some rollerblading. I grew up doing a lot of roller skating. We had a roller skating rink in town.
Oh gosh,
yeah.
Brett, do you know the hometown that I live no longer has a roller rink?
I did not.
Yeah, they tore the building down.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
3 years ago.
Wow.
Well, I think where you guys would have come in, I don't think you would have gone that route to get to my house. So, yeah, the next time you're in town, I'll have to try. I'll have to have you guys go by there again because it's gone.
Wow.
Like we could walk into the ruins and we could go and stand places that used to be the rink.
Wow. All right, then we'll have to do that.
Yeah.
We'll take pictures, good-looking people.
Anywho, yeah. So roller skating or ice skating.
Yeah.
Cory or Shawn and Jack have found their thing they're going to do now, and so now they're going to be off. Except Brett, we finally get to the real part of this episode.
Ah, yes, the heart of the episode. We're only 47 and a half minutes into our recording time, and we're finally at the meat of the episode.
Well, and this episode takes a long time getting into this little.
It takes a lot of time to set up. We're like halfway through the second act, and this is only a 2-act show.
Yeah. Normally, good looking people, whenever TV shows have done a Christmas, Life is, wow.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. Thank you. Too many movies I was thinking about. It's a Wonderful Life. When they do a Wonderful Life reenactment, reimagining, homage, whatever you want to call it, normally it's like within the first minute or two of the episode, they'll hop right into it. Like I think the best one I can think of right now is from that 70s show where Eric, after he and Donna break up, he gets to see what life would be like into the future of what things would be like if he and Donna hadn't dated. So, but yeah, so this is a trope that I think there's just way too many shows have done it to really get into, or something similar enough to it. So if you don't know Good Looking People, the gist of It's a Wonderful Life, guy thinks to himself, my family would be better off without me.
I wish I'd never been born.
Yes, an angel comes down and helps him to see what his life would be like without that. And I do have to say, I've watched that movie now in the last 2 Christmases more than any other time I've watched it over the years. I really like it, actually. But in fairness to the episode we're watching, the actual movie takes a long time to get to that premise as well. So it does fit for the movie into the TV show, because it really is the aha moment for him of seeing everything. Unlike with say A Christmas Carol, where Scrooge has to see and deal with and unfortunately have to live his whole life, understanding everything. So, but anywho, we get Mr. Feeney as essentially his angel, his ghost that's going to lead him into this little fake reality that he's walking into.
I don't want to play.
I am the ghost of Christmas future. Yes, but he ends up showing him what things would look like for them. And so he goes to a different version of the apartment, and the apartment looks slightly skewed. Not very much, though. And you have Eric coming in. He looks a little older and doesn't look as good anymore. Definitely not a good-looking guy.
Yeah, not quite. Eric has lost his looks because he's balding.
Yes, but he is taking care of primarily Cory, because he's upset,
Oh,
and
I'm a big boy.
that becomes Eric's whole life is helping take care of his brother.
Yes. Who eats only one thing morning, noon, and night. 2:00 in the morning.
Yep.
Christmas tree shaped pancakes with powdered sugar.
Yep. Which, good Lord, would that get gross after like the first 2 days?
And honestly, yes, Cory in the future is a big boy. I think that is kind to what Cory would actually be in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but then we go to where Topanga is, Brett, and Topanga is shown all by herself and alone until dun dun dun, her family walks in.
That's right. I clipped part of this one too.
Oh, good.
I don't really know you too well, but thanks for marrying me.
Well, obviously, it's a loveless marriage.
Those are supposed to be my kids.
All right, children, it's Christmas Eve. Time to open presents.
You see that? Everything her own way.
Look at the tree.
It's aluminum. Topanga would never have an aluminum tree. How did Jack get her to do that?
Perhaps he never ran out of the house like a coward. Perhaps he realized that the spirit of love brings compromise, and that when two people grow together, they start their own traditions.
You know everything, don't you?
Oh, no, Mr. Matthews. This is your dream. I'm merely in it.
This is your dream. I'm merely in it. You know, I see this Dream Feeny and I see Eric's Dream Feeny from a few weeks back, and I wonder, do they have the same personality? Would they both sit down with a bowl of beer nuts and say, nutty?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I will say that Cory is full-blown having an actual dream.
Yes, he is.
And so, Feeny, like, I mean, I'm assuming you have. I know I have had dreams where, like, I've heard, like, I have a TV playing or like a movie is going on or a video, and people are saying the words in my dream that is being done there. I actually fell asleep to a TikTok video a few weeks back, and I literally in a dream kept hearing people talk about the same thing over and over and over again. But it was always someone new coming in with the same exact voice, being like, "Did you hear? Blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
You gave that TikToker so many views.
Right? You're welcome. So yeah, I love the running joke. Well, I don't know you very well, but I'm glad you married me. But
Yeah.
there's a part of me that's bothered by this dream and this whole life is beautiful life is beautiful. Why do I keep saying that? It's a wonderful life because it's trying to make it seem like Topanga is justified because she would be sad because she would have an aluminum tree to remind her of her ex-boyfriend, apparently. It's not that different from in It's a Wonderful Life, the way that the wife turns out because of the fact she didn't marry the main character. So,
do you want the moon, Mary? I'll lasso you to the moon. Well, I mean, Cory says something interesting in the dream before he wakes up. We can do things your way this year, and next year we'll do things my way, and the year after that we'll do things a combination with an emphasis on your way. Like, or maybe it was they reversed it with his way and her way, but it was that third year that really sticks out. We'll do it combined with an emphasis on your way. It's like, would he keep going where they'd emphasize his way the year after that, and eventually they get to a balance? or is
Mm-hmm.
he just gonna try to, in his dream world, is he just trying to find a way to appease Topanga and get her back into his life in the dream and still have a foothold for himself, or is this just his dream going crazy? You know, I just found that line interesting, where he's looking for compromises within his dream, but only sort of.
Yep. But Brett, we get to back to the Matthews' kitchen, and Topanga is feeling sad because she pushed Cory away.
Hello.
I'm assuming he's been gone for maybe 3 hours or so.
Yeah, long
With
enough
enough
to
time
fall
to go.
asleep in front of the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a nap and then come home. But
Yeah.
Cory's singing the first Noel.
Yep.
Not very well, but he is doing
he's not
it.
much of a caroler, but he's doing it.
No. Yeah. He's It's that classic, I'm willing to embarrass myself to prove to you for my love.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Cory is trying to make amends for what occurred, and so is Topanga. So this, as much as I don't like the way the two of them will communicate this season, they will come together at the end and apologize for the way that they acted. And I always,
I do.
I always appreciate that for the two of them.
Yes, I do appreciate the way that they patch things up here. Cory, Topanga does realize that she did some things that drove Cory away. She's not sitting there stewing like, oh well, he can just so and so to himself and whatever, and we'll keep things PG here. And I can think of other things she would stew over. And he comes in and he's caroling as a way, as a gesture to say, hey, look, I want to make amends, and she's willing to talk and to listen, and they do talk things out, and so I do appreciate that. And then they decide to exchange rings.
Yes, they
gifts.
both give each other promise rings because they'll be together forever.
Because they're so different. Oh wait, no, they're actually the same.
Yeah,
they get promise rings to give to each other just a few episodes before they go on a ski trip.
Oh, it was beautiful. But Cory, I can't. We're family. It would be wrong.
We'll have to we'll have to track that and see how long these promise rings actually get worn.
Oh gosh.
$5 says they're off by the next episode.
Oh, not even. It's within the first intro, Brett. They're probably holding them at their house to keep them safe. So yes,
probably.
but we go back to the tag Brett, and Mr. Feeney is starting to read A Christmas Carol.
As read by
They're
George
reading Christmas
Feeney.
Carol. Yes, it's read by George Feeney. But everyone is snoring because this is the tradition. Feeney reads, and they all are attentive until they all fall asleep.
And Jack and Shawn are on the floor.
Yeah. And that good-looking, people, is a Merry Christmas and an episode.
That's right. So, Tyler, do you have any deep dives for us?
People. Am I the only one who read the summer reading list?
Well, Brett, let's start with It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life came out in 1946. Rated PG. It stars James Stewart, Donna Reed, Lionel Barrymore. Nominated for 5 Oscars. It won 7 awards. Wonder what they were.
And it gave us the expression, every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings.
Yes. Academy Award. They were nominated for Best Picture, nominee for Best Leading Actor, nominee for Best Director, nominee for Best Sound, and nominee for Best Editing. Cinema Writers Circle Award of Spain. Interesting. Golden Globes, Best Director. National Board Review, USA. Okay. National Film Preservation Board. New York City's Film Critics Circle Award. Young Artist Award. Online Film and Television Association. Interesting. Yes, this is the movie where we get the classic line of every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. It's about a man named George Bailey who is contemplating how do they say it? Unaliving himself. And yes. And so he thinks that the town and his family would be better off without him. And then a angel comes along. What's his name? The
Clarence.
Angel. Clarence comes along, and he helps him to see what his world would be like and what his family's life would be like without him, and how things aren't the same if he wasn't there. And I have to say that Uncle Billy, along with Mr. Potter, are by far the villains of this movie.
Yeah.
Just everything about Mr. Potter is the worst.
The worst. I
I've
can't
seen
do
a
a
lot.
good John Raffio tonight.
No, she's the worst, seriously. Yeah, so here we go. The show, 911, After School Specials, Alf, Angel, the Amber Ruffin Show. Okay. Arrow, The Big Bang Theory, Austin and Ally. There's a Beauty and the Beast movie, TV show. Okay.
Yep, ran on the CW.
Beverly Hills, Bewitched, The Big Bang Theory multiple times. Bill Nye the Science Guy, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Brimstone, Blackadder, Castle, The Chappelle Show, Charmed, Dallas. So yeah, there are a lot of TV shows that have done the It's a Wonderful Life trope, and there are still so many we've not mentioned. Again, one of the best ones is from the TV show That 70. Oh, wow. Okay, so there was a guy who ate pancakes every single day, and he decided to write an article about that every day for a month. So this is what we wrote at the end of it all. So what I did is I learned from this month-long pancake adventure. First, variety is critical. Eating the same thing every day can get boring, even if there's something you love. Second, balance matters. It's important to consider the nutritional value of your meal, not just taste. And last, sometimes it's simple pleasure, like a stack of pancakes, that can bring the most joy. And last, will I eat pancakes every day from now on? Probably not, but they will always have a special place in my breakfast table. Absolutely. So, the question is, Brad, if you just keep eating these things, are you going to potentially get fat? And, there's a chance.
Yeah, I'd say probably.
Yep. Okay, so from Philadelphia to Mad Dog Tree Care, which is a tree farm, you're looking at about 281 miles. Uh, 4 hours and 26 minutes of driving straight. So they're going to have to probably stop and take a break somewhere. Still, a lot of stuff to do for someone's probably one and only day off he's going to have.
Yeah.
Plastic model kits. Plastic model kit is a consumer grade plastic scale model manufactured as a kit, primarily assembled by hobbyists and intended primarily for display. A plastic model kit depicts various subjects ranging from real life military and civilian vehicles classes. Okay, this was the first plastic models were manufactured at the end of 1936 by Frog in UK, which is a range of 1/72 scale model kit Penguin in the late 1940s. Several American companies, such as Hawks, Vernier, Empire Renewal, and Lindenberg, began to produce plastic models. So, oh heck, just in case we forgot, Brett. Christmas Carol is commonly known as The Christmas Carol, is a novel by Charles Dickinson, first published in London by Chapman Hall in 1843, illustrated by John Leach. It recounts the story of Ebenezer Scrooge, a elder Mr. Miser who is visited by three ghosts, former business partner Jacob Marley, and the spirit of Christmas past, present, and yet to come. So, just communicating that we can every year reflect and decide if that was real or not. So, Brett, those are the deep dives.
Cool. I will say one of my more favorite recent adaptations of A Christmas Carol is Spirited on Apple TV Plus from a couple of years ago with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. So let's talk about what we learned.
You know anything about the Odyssey? Huh? Did I say you could talk?
I didn't teach you that.
My friend Mr. Matthews will lead the discussion.
Do I have to draw you a picture?
Tyler, did you learn anything about the great world beyond, or our world here, from Cory's misadventures with Topanga?
Yeah, I learned that my wife is such a chilled individual. Like, my wife, we were talking about this, and
My wife.
there was no world in which my mom would, or my wife, my brain is useless right now, where my wife would come into my mother's house and change anything about Christmas decorations or anything like that. She just would not do it. And my mother also doesn't try to force any of our old Christmas traditions onto my wife or any other in-laws for that matter. So,
Excellent.
a pretty blessed boy over here, a big boy.
Oh, I'm a big boy. I learned, was reminded of the importance of helping my kids understand and be ready for the differences between themselves and their future partners. That they're not going to just be carbon copies of each other, that their differences could be pretty drastic at times, and that they need to be prepared for that and be ready to have ways to cope with that and to in some ways be fluid. And so that is part of my role as their father. So
Fair.
I look up to Alan in the way he did that. That was a fun little way to do that. So, let's grade this puppy.
I'm right?
No, you're exactly right.
So am I done with my education? Can I go?
Tyler, how do you grade this Christmas classic full of traditions that we've never seen before?
Well, I'm not sure what I've graded the other Christmas specials, but I probably like this one the best, in all honesty. There's something to it, and I do love the conflict of Topanga wanting her traditions to be acknowledged and Cory not knowing how to communicate that he is getting upset by his girlfriend. So I'm going to give this episode, Brett, an A-.
Very fair. Yeah, I have no clue what I have graded other Christmas episodes without going through my my external drives here where I move stuff to. But looking at it as an episode and as a Christmas episode, it does a lot of things well. It does a lot of things rushed, and it does some things not very well at all. On the whole, it's pretty well done episode. It does its job serviceably. I give it a B+.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a good episode.
It
I'll
is.
always come back to it.
I do. And it's one of the ones that I pull out every year between Thanksgiving and Christmas and make sure I watch it at least once as part of my annual Christmas tradition. So it's definitely one that I enjoy. Even if
Fair.
even if Topanga accesses her inner Cory a little too much. Yes. But I think, Tyler, you owe me a dad joke before we move on out. By the way, Steve's managed to stay in the Christmas spirit this whole episode, even though I didn't.
Nice. All right, let's give this one a shot, Brett. What did the reindeer learn to play? Sorry, how did the reindeer learn to play the piano?
How?
He was elf-taught. Why is everyone thirsty at the North Pole?
Something to do with elves, but I don't know.
Noel.
Nice.
And last one, Brett, this is for you. How do sheep say Merry Christmas to each other?
Oh, I should know this one. I have a feeling I'm gonna kick myself when I hear it. How?
Feliz Navidad.
Yep. Yes.
Yes. And that's been our episode. Good looking people.
That's right.
Merry
Good looking people.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. If you're listening to this as it drops live, Merry Christmas is a month and a half early. If you're listening
Happy
to it
Thanksgiving.
closer, Merry Christmas. You can always send us your thoughts on social media at dadsmeetworld across Instagram, Facebook, Twitter /X, YouTube, or drop us an email at dadsmeetworld@gmail.com. And if you're looking for that fantastic Christmas gift, stop by our shop at dadsmeetworld.threadless.com.
Yeah, get some gear.
That's right. I'll be putting some shops together for Christmas season. So look for that in a week or two here.
Nice.
Yeah. So until next time, I'll see you, good looking.
Back to you, good looking.
You know, how can I learn so much every week and still be so stupid? I want to be normal, stud.
We are the Dimmers.
Topanga.
This is good TV.
Dads Meet World is a production of Headfirst Studios. Headfirst Studios. Tell your story.
All right, deep dives.
Okay, that Santa hat was hot.
I believe you.